So this is Mr. McTavish. This is the exercise Extrude. And first thing is creating a new document. And so let's do that. I've got the new document and I'm just going to go in and make sure that the workspace units are in millimeters, just as they asked. That's under the hamburger menu. So now that I've got that done, I'm going to begin a sketch on the top plane. So select top, select sketch, and I always press N to normalize so that I'm looking at it dead on. So that's the first slide. In here, creating this sketch is a little bit tricky, but that's okay. So as shown using lines, circles, a center point rectangle, and a construction line. Okay, so that's going to be the origin. So first off, I'm going to create a construction line that goes, there's the line, there's the construction, and I'm just going to go up. I'm just going to drag that up a bit. And then there's going to be a center point rectangle in there. So let's do that. So the drop down, center point rectangle, click and drag, and they haven't given any dimensions here, so I'm just going to play it by ear. So then I've got two circles. So great. Just looking at those. So circle number one is, whoops, didn't work the way I wanted it, so I just hit escape. There we go. Now I've got it centered on the origin. Circle number two is up here. And then I'm going to create two more circles on the edge. So let's just do that. Now I'm using the origin, you see the little orange dotted thing, so that way they're horizontal with each other. And there we go. So the last thing is that I'm going to have a line from here to here. And what I do is the L on the keyboard. L on the keyboard is the line tool, so I can just quickly turn it on and off. And that way I can quickly do my lines. Okay, so there's my lines. The biggest thing as you're doing this is make sure it's shaded. That's good. So then we're going to use the equal constraints to make both circles in pair A. So there's that circle and that circle equal as both circles in pair B. Okay, so that's fine. So under my constraints, there is my equal one. So that one and that one are the same. And then this one and this one are the same size. So there we go. I'm just going to show the constraints and I see my equal sign, so that's good. Didn't look very different because they're already pretty close in size. So tangent relations for these lines. These lines should be tangent to all three circles. Okay, so that, boom, that tangent, tangent, tangent. Okay, so the tangent tool, there it is right there. And I click, and that becomes tangent. I click the line, I click the circle, that becomes tangent. So I just work my way around doing the same thing. And when a line is tangent to it, that means that if there was a line to this point, that's the 90 degrees from that point. But tangent lines are great because you can see they look really good. So there we go, I've got that all done. So it looks like I've got everything here. Next slide, add a symmetrical sketch constraint between the center points of the circles and the construction line. So the symmetrical, I just look for it, there it is. So boom, boom, boom. And I think I've got that done. If I move this, you'd notice that the other circle changes too. I've just noticed that line is not moving the way it should. So that has to be tangent. And this is the really, really important thing as you're going. If you miss one little thing, it gets really hard. Okay, so add the dimensions as shown. So, okay, so these things mean the diameter. So that this big circle is going to be 70 millimeters. So let's start with that. And same thing, you just got to be methodical and have it. So that is going to be 70 millimeters. The inner circle is going to be 35. Okay, so dimension, click 35. The rectangle is going to be 10 millimeters tall. Oops. So that line right there is going to be 10 millimeters. And this one is going to be 45. So you'll notice that as things are dimensioned, they're no longer black, or they're become black instead of blue. So this 251, they're located on the outside. So that's a really key thing. So I will click on the outside of that and the outside of that, and that's 250. That's key. So it's not center to center. And then my outside one is 35 and my small one is 20. I'm going to do the small one first, um, just so that in case there's some weird thing that happens. And then that one right there, and I can't remember what it was, 35. I'm going to hide this so we get a little bit more real estate. Okay, so it looks like I've got everything. Just double check. Boom, 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 boom. Yes, it is. And all the lines are black, which means it's fully constrained, except for that point, but they have that blue too. Next slide. So complete the sketch. And this is the key thing is you gotta, every single step, you gotta just read the first sentence, do it. Read the next one. Create an extrude feature. Okay, so let's go. Here's the extrude feature. And we are doing 40 millimeters. And I'm using the sketch region shown. So notice how they've set that up. Top, uh, top, front, right. Okay, so there's 3 sketches there. So I've got that circle, that part, and that part. Okay, so let's do that. That part, and that part. So, and this is where double check. Everything looks good there. New blind 40 millimeters. So let's do that. New blind 40 millimeters. So that looks good. I'm just double checking because if I make a mistake, it can make it really hard later on. Now creating the second extrude feature of 25 millimeters using the sketch region shown. And we want to add. Now the problem is I don't see it. So I need to make sure that I make my sketch visible so that I can see it. So I'm going to do the extrude. So it looks like 2 parts. Okay, so add. I'm going to select that part and that part. And blind 25 millimeters, blind 25 millimeters. So that looks good. Just double checking everything. Okay. Right click on the newly created part and select rename and call it bracket. So there's part 1, right click, rename, and I'm calling it bracket. Right click, select assign material and assign steel 1020. So right click, assign material. And so I'm going to look for steel. 10, 20. There we go. So I am now officially done. So if I click this measurement, the measurement tool right there, that will give me the mass. And don't you hate when McTavish doesn't give you the full answer? So if you continue on to the next page, you'll get a multiple choice question and you need to be able to answer based on that. So you got to do it yourself, unfortunately, but it's really good practice. This is a skill that you use a lot in tech design.